Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Commentary as Magic Stream on today, Sunday, June 28th, 2026. I'm, as always, Grand Paws.
Big Cheese.
Arca, Ivory, and who's next to me?
Tis I, Cursed Chords.
Well, hello, 'tis I, Cursed Chords.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome back.
Always glad to be here.
Always glad to have you here, especially when we have exciting updates and news to share with the community because of your direct efforts. This is all you. There's no one else to blame.
That is true. I've taken the mantle of responsibility upon my shoulders.
And how's it feel? How does it weigh?
Right now, it's still pretty heavy, but I assume that will ease up as we get into things. Shall I just say it?
Yeah, sure. Go for it.
Yeah. So, I am going to be taking on the role of sort of lead designer for the next batch of cards that is going to be coming out, which is going to be another prize wheel expansion.
You heard it here first.
Yeah, some people might be familiar with some of the custom sets that I've done over the past little while, but these are going to be real cards, which does have another layer of, well, responsibility, as said.
But there's plenty of support behind you and plenty of bandwidth being given to explore design space. And inevitably, in this process, somewhere along the lines, just know you are going to mess up and it will impact the meta, and no one's going to think any less of you for it.
It's fair. I've been kind of thinking to myself that, like, the milestone is when you eventually do have to ban something that you created, and it'll happen at some point.
No. Banning applies even to professional game designers. Now, the real hallmark of print and play, independent, freely given set design is when you have to ban one of your cards twice.
I was about to say we're gonna have to talk about a certain yellow mane.
Yeah,
It's always the quiet ones.
Of course it is. Speaking of which,
yeah, we have a little bit of that early design process to share, and it is yellow.
Oh, spoilers. All right. So,
well, yeah, spoilers are happening.
Sort of. I guess it's true. Walk us through what your design process has been like so far on what we're talking about today.
Walk it through design process. That's going to involve a corkboard and a lot of red yarn. Anyway.
If we had a meme handy, I'd put it up.
Yeah, so essentially, so far, at least, for this section, we went into this process with a bit of a, okay, I was going to say a problem to solve. I don't want to imply that we're necessarily a serious problem. But we wanted to give a card to yellow that would offer kind of a bit of a help to yellow aggro, specifically against Izzy and kind of the removal heavy meta that's around, right?
Sure.
And when it comes to kind of protection against that sort of thing, I kind of looked back through the stuff that had been there before, and I saw old Sequestria card, Brian. Wonderful card. It's always been a design that I really liked. And so I kind of figured, like, that sort of thing for yellow seems sort of on brand, to be more of a kind of proactive protection card rather than like a reaction to get your thing back or to get card draw or discount or value or anything like that. But of course, you don't just want to reprint Brian, so you want to put a little twist on it, right? And I guess eventually where I landed was with this brand new. When did Tales come out?
let's see, would have been 5 or 6 weeks prior to Everfree last year. So we're talking like very early July, so almost a year ago.
Yeah, almost a year ago. This new mechanic called Assist, which got used by a bunch of cards in that set. Credit to you, I guess, and to the rest of the Sim team. It's a wonderful mechanic, and there's so many cool things you can do with it.
It's definitely not just Convoke with limitations.
Don't
it's
reveal your secrets.
It's completely new. Original mechanic, do not steal.
We got to work on your secret keeping, GP.
Yeah, a little bit.
Well, I guess on the subject of mechanics that are completely new and not stolen from other card games, let's talk about this new card design.
Yes, this brand new, never before seen card design. Yeah, let's take a...
Yeah, so let's have a look at it. The original idea that I had that I sort of brought into the attention was a friend that's a bit sort of heavier than Brian, but we use the assist to knock it down to the same cost.
I do have to pause you for a second. Was that a balloon animal joke? The friend the friend heavier than Brian?
That's, I am not as swift on my feet to, be able to make that intentional.
I'm about to see Silverquill again, so I'm already prepping myself for the puns here, so
fair.
Yeah. Anyway, continue.
Yeah. And so right, we do the assist. 3 cost goes down to 1 because it's assist 2. And it says that the cards which assisted this friend get a counter. The name of that counter doesn't matter. We'll call it a shield counter for now. And then, sort of similar to Brian, right? When one of those friends would lead play, you could retire this card to protect it, to prevent that lead play from happening.
There we go. There's a visual version of it.
So it looks something like this.
Woggle.
Yeah,
okay.
And so that, yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead. That's fine.
Yeah, that was sort of submitted to the design process we have over here. And then, we walked through a number of items. Oh, yes. The critter part, thank you for pointing that out, Ivory. Very important. It's maybe I shouldn't be surprised, but it's wonderful how many things just suddenly light up when you add that trait to a card in yellow. Yeah.
It's true. And we'll definitely get to talking about that for sure. So, you said that one of the cards that you were working on designing here was this as kind of an answer to the heavy disruption and removal, especially the repeated removal that Izzy decks can produce, right?
Mm-hmm.
So your first design approach with this card was bottom up, right? We're starting with mechanics and adding flavor as we go?
Yes, exactly.
Okay. So at the time that you pitched this initial design, I don't even think we had traits selected, right?
I'm pretty sure that's correct. Yeah.
Okay. But the intent is clear looking at the mechanics that's here, right? Assist is a way to be able to not only discount cards if you're willing to give up a little bit of aggressive pressure temporarily, or even make use of cards that could not provide aggressive pressure because they're stuck at home, for instance, looking at you, Featherweight. And then tying that new assist mechanic to the protection there means there's a little bit of give and take. In theory, this card is capable of protecting more than just one friend like the original Brian can. This friend could serve as protection for multiple cards simultaneously, even if it can only prevent that friend leaving play once.
Precisely. But and this is one of the big specters that was kind of looming in my head as I was considering this. It's like, do I really want to allow yellow to protect Birds of a Feather, right? Like, oh, that's already a card that, like, if that sticks around for too long, it's gonna be a problem. But the assist gives us like a little bit of a lever on that, right? Because in order to put the protection on it, you have to exhaust it for an effect other than the huge effect you want to exhaust it for.
That's an excellent point. So not only do you already have to have landed a birds on the field, but you have to give up that first incremental token generation that Birds of a Feather is so notorious for. And so the overall value of that card over the course of the game might be slightly reduced, unless you are considering how that value would be disrupted by birds being dismissed by Windy, for example.
Yeah, exactly.
That's really going to depend on just how much removal your opponent has.
Right. And even other high-value cards in mono yellow aggro right now often also want to exhaust. You think of where a lot of the point acceleration is coming from, right? Kevin is a big instance of this, and guess what? Kevin also needs to exhaust for his point acceleration to kick in. Now, not all of it does. You've got things. Well, we'll get to that here in a moment. So right. you have this prototype design, and the intent is clear, the purpose is clear behind it. This was the initial version. Where have we ended up now?
Right. So we've made a couple changes to it. Actually, I think just the one big change, right? Yes. Because the current one, now it is the counter that gets removed rather than this friend getting retired, like Brian.
Well, and there's one other change here as well that this particular card does not show. At least I don't think so. Let me take a look to confirm. Oh no, it does show it. Never mind. That's correct. I got the stats wrong. So yes, that one other change of you are removing the counter instead of retiring this friend.
Like I said, yes, it is totally not shield with a different restriction, or even the same thing.
It's fine. Don't worry about it.
So it doesn't look on the surface like a whole lot changed from the initial design to where we ended up here. But I think, as someone who has done his own set design, speaking about you here, right? You've designed an entire set. You've designed 100 plus cards, 150 plus cards that are all designed to create a play experience either in a constructed meta just their own or using other existing cards. There's a lot that goes into the design process of cards that people don't see. All they see is either the prototype version that's pitched or the final version that comes out. And how you get to that final version, I think, is the thing we want to kind of highlight about that today, if you're willing to kind of walk us through that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like just beyond the initial concept. Within the corpus of cards out there, there's all kind of things to consider. The first thing that we can ask, just kind of as a general sort of thumb in the wind, to make sure that we're doing good, is to, this card is built for yellow aggro. That's what we were going for. So let's look at the yellow aggro decks that are out there and, ask ourselves, right? Would these decks use it?
So, as an example of this, here is Ivory's essentially mono hitch deck from Continentals last year.
This is one of the more recent versions of mono yellow aggro that we've seen, and if you're printing a monocolor card, you can probably check to see, does it go in a monocolor deck?
Yep, pretty much. And so, yeah, this is something that we sort of looked over. And there are, obviously, this deck was run on Continentals. It's well-tuned, right? And Ivory can obviously answer that right now.
Nope, not tuned at all. Bunch of cards thrown together.
Doubt.
So most of the cards in here are real sort of high value, the kind of stuff that you kind of look through and say, okay, birds, we're not getting rid of that, we're not getting rid of that, we're not getting rid of that, we're not getting rid of that. You kind of have to feel your way down to some of the utility to find a card that's going to get swapped out for this sort of thing. And I think the consensus more or less was that this could get swapped in for Flutter Swarm, right?
100%.
Now, Ivory, I recall your feelings on Flutter Swarm in here being kind of similar to the first time it was tried with Thorax as well, which is, why am I wasting time on controlling the opponent's board when I can just be going faster?
Correct. Yeah, I never felt like Flutter Swarm really belonged in here after I tried using it.
Yeah.
I would much rather have another friend just doing stuff than I would having Flutter Swarm maybe see use.
Especially if that other friend can not only be doing stuff, but be protecting your other cards that are doing stuff, right?
Why is Angel slowly morphing over top of...
That was an interesting effect. Is this Angel just slowly pushing Fluttershy out of frame and just getting all the camera focus?
Apparently.
Angel would.
Now Angel is backwards.
Now Angel's looking over there.
Editor, make Angel upside down.
Is that the animated equivalent of Angel giving shifty eyes?
Yay, Angel's
Seems
upside
so,
down now.
yeah.
Australian Angel.
Australian Angel, yeah. Backflip. All right, so yes, is there a desire to have this type of effect within the deck? Sure, you've got high value pieces that are often expensive to play that you would like to protect. Between Kevin and Birds of a Feather and Kind as Can Be, even having Hitch as a 4-power friend getting protected is not the end of the world, and Antoine's good utility too. Plus, Featherweight draws cards. Everybody likes drawing cards. Don't hate on my card draw.
Well, unless I'm the opponent.
Unless you're the opponent, then hate on the card draw.
Just play your own eager friend.
Right? So, the question is, does the deck want to run the card? Yes, absolutely. Right? Can the deck run the card becomes the next question. Well, we already kind of answered that. Is there flexibility within the deck to be able to make a spot for this? Yes. There's not a lot, but there's some. And if the game plan of I'm going to slow down my opponent rather than go faster myself hasn't been working to a deck pilot's preference, then maybe the I'm going to slow myself down to have a little bit more gas in the tank across longer games or against games with control might work a little bit better.
Yeah, and it is absolutely a flex card, right? You don't. Well, okay. I suppose there'll be some removal in virtually every matchup, but you probably would consider boarding this out in an aggro versus aggro game. In fact, you probably would. You wouldn't want to slow yourself down in that sort of situation.
Sure. But what else are we siding out in aggro v aggro, right? There's a good chance we're already siding out, Swarm or maybe Lunch Rush or, something similar in there, right?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So we know that the type of deck the effect was intended for actually does want to run it, and we know it can make room for this effect. Great. Fantastic. What about anything else? Right. Is this card going to serve a going to have a positive impact on the meta, or is it going to be a silver bullet that we have handed to one player or one type of player in particular?
Yeah, because ideally we want to, spread the love to the extent possible. Better designs are ones that, can fit in a variety of situations, can fit in a variety of archetypes. So, we naturally look towards the other color combinations that are out there, of which there are, that involve yellow, of which there's 5, I suppose.
Sure, five dual color and then a couple tricolor in there as well, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so what did you do? We went to Ponyhead, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. And just kind of pull up I think we went to the better archive, but either way.
Sure.
Some resource to look at cards, pull out the multicolor cards, start from the top. Blue, yellow. Oh, yeah, I guess so. Fair enough.
Yeah. So starting with multicolor, we're sticking in core, right, for the format.
I don't know what that sort was. Oh, that's a sort. Okay, it's probably easy to just look at this through the deck builder.
Yeah. All right, and then we're just scrolling down till we see yellow. All right, there's a little yellow.
There's some multicolor.
Yeah. Now, out of all of these blue-yellow friends, are there those that are impactful enough that we would want to protect them from removal that they would normally be eating, right?
Mm-hmm. So
Go ahead.
I was gonna say a lot of these are fairly cheap. Vapor Trail, stands out as expensive and gets most of its value over time, and would be a big target for the opponent. So that one sticks out, I would say.
And this is also an attractive target. Look what this does.
Right. As an anthem effect, right? That is also going to be disrupting the opponent from playing things to the same thing, and then having a day shift style effect with dilemmas. And then, of course, there's a couple other point acceleration targets in there. Hitch and Sparky technically serve as point acceleration slightly. Altero definitely does. Fluttershy and Bulk definitely do. Like Cursed pointed out, a number of the cards here are pretty cheap. So is the deck going to be that sad if its 2-cost, minor impact in Hitch and Sparky gets removed? No, but are they going to be sad if Altero or Vapor Trail get removed? Yeah, probably so.
Or Flutter and Bulk, yeah.
Sure, exactly.
Well, okay, that's one color combination. Let's keep scrolling. What do we got here? How about some orange?
Well, orange-yellow is all about counters, right?
Right, and this card does spread counters.
This card does spread counters. And if you're putting counters on your friends, you probably don't want those friends going away because you're probably getting more value out of making those friends bigger than you are out of making more friends.
It's actually, I don't even think that necessarily came up in our discussion, but it strikes me now, right? Yeah, orange-yellow is all about the big counters. Protection is even better in orange because so much of their friends, get their value from being tall.
Yes, let's talk about this thing for a moment, shall we?
Mm-hmm.
Fair point, yes.
She's so happy.
She's so happy because she knows Angel Bunny has her back. Through time and space.
I mean, I thought it was kind of funny here because Ivory's deck, the theme is rodents. So, Hitch, Bunny, Cop, you have Twitch, Bunny, Angel, Bunny.
Bunnies are not rodents.
Yeah, might as well be. Bunnies, Kevin,
Bunny, bunny, do the bunny, honey, honey.
Fun.
There's also other little hilarious strategies that don't become immediately apparent. Yeah, like that one right there. No, go back. You had her.
Yeah, the Queen Haven one. Putting counters around.
Right? Your friends with at least one counter on them don't count against your home limit.
What kind of counter? Don't care.
Doesn't matter. Okay, but Sunny, obviously hugely impactful, probably even more of a massive target than or on the same tier as like Birds of a Feather, right?
Right. As long as it's got some number of counters to collect when it comes into play. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Let's look at the next multicolor combo.
Let's keep scrolling here.
Bugle also says not yellow, but the interaction with Misty and Alphabetical and or Jonah Joe is also very strong. That's true. Assist also has, synergy just with exhaustion in general. Okay. Pink yellow. What do we actually care about protecting here in pink yellow?
Yeah. So most of these cards are enters play abilities that we care about. Or / play this card.
Sure. Bugle in chat says Opaline.
I mean, this thing's pretty annoying, too.
Hitch and Sparky is annoying, right? Giving minus power at a problem and also being a 4-power body, that's pretty good. Opaline is also going to be putting magic counters and -1 power counters on stuff. So like those could potentially have some removal targets painted on them. There's perhaps a more interesting reason that pink yellow might choose to play this card, and it has nothing to do with protecting multicolor friends. Instead, it has everything to do with that little sea pony right there in the middle. That one. And we'll get to this in a moment, because remember, all of this discussion and all of this research took place before the card's stats and abilities were finalized.
Precisely. That sea pony is a, shall we say, hill to tiptoe around sometimes.
Okay. We got two color combinations we can take a look at here real quick. Spoilers for purple yellow. There's not a lot.
Yeah, admittedly, there's some semi-sizable friends there, like, scroll up a bit, the Celestia and Twilight, I think. Like, yeah.
Sure, they can get big. And Celestia and Luna, I guess, are providing you card advantage as well. You can offer redundant layers of protection by having Alphabetal Blossom Forth protect your royalty while Angel protects Alphabetal. But Bugle says, but I can keep Zippo in play. Ah, yes, exactly what you wanted. Just stare at that face.
This is psychological warfare.
That's what I'm going to call that deck. I had been trying to figure out what the good name for it was going to be. Thank you, Ara. And then white yellow, yeah, we had a little bit going on in white yellow. Again, pretty similarly, there's a lot of cards that have kind of enters play effects. I think the big one here is actually that 1 cost with McSnips a lot, which is kind of funny because we can offer 1 more level of protection from the opponent getting all those cards back.
Mm-hmm.
And spoilers, there's a resource Yak Strength Hug that basically does the same thing. Okay, so are all of the other color combinations, jumping at the gun to run this? Not necessarily. But are there a couple that are going to be considering it? And we didn't even touch on the tricorns that are including yellow. Pinky would like protection, please.
Yeah, that is true. Yes. Thorax too, honestly.
Yeah, Thorax wouldn't mind it.
No, we're not going to worry about that one. That one can just go away.
Yeah. Okay, so is the card going to do more than be just a silver bullet for one particular deck? Yeah, probably so, right? At the very least, blue-yellow might consider it, and certainly orange-yellow is going to look at it because they're ramping up to Sunny anyway.
It's pretty cheap protection.
So long as you've got things to assist it with, yeah. Which,
You probably will.
Probably so.
Having two things isn't that hard, yeah.
So now
I mean, I
that
guess, yeah, you've got a main and you've got at least one thing that you want to protect. So I guess yeah.
that's true, you can always just use the main if you need to, right?
It would feel bad, but you could do it.
Now,
Well, yeah.
the card has been determined that it has a theoretical place within the current core environment. So you just need to work out the specific language of the ability. It was understood early on that the friend was going to add counters, and these counters were going to tie into protecting those friends that had those counters in some way, shape, or form. But should the counter have the protection built in? Does this friend give that protection to the friends that have the counter? What is the cost of having that protection? Do you have to retire the friend? Do you have to remove the counter? What's the mechanical difference between any of these?
Mm-hmm. And there's a few, like, I guess you just kind of outlined them. There's a few different ways that you could do it, right? You could, the original way we did this, where the counter goes out, and this friend has Brian's text, more or less. There's the version that's on screen right now. Oh, sorry. There's the version that the version with Angel on it, where the counter is the thing that gets removed, but this card is the one that provides the ability. So if this card goes away, those counters will just stop meaning anything, at least until another one comes in.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, those are the two kind of main ones, I guess.
Sure.
But yeah,
so,
sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so there's some sort of mechanical nuance there, right? With the sort of original version, it basically always makes sense for the opponent to get rid of this card first, because this card has no protection on itself, and when this goes away, the counters still kind of cease to have a purpose, and so this is one level. If you had multiple copies in play, the opponents would still, it's the same thing, right?
Right. Where it can kind of get up to is, well, what levels of redundancy are we going to see with this, right? If we're going with this original design, then this is the friend that gets retired, right? If your opponent has no method of being able to play around you having multiple copies of this, because the end result is still the same. As long as you have at least one copy of this friend face up, your opponent is going to be incentivized to target their removal at this card, or at a copy of this card. But what if that wasn't the case?
Mm-hmm. Because, things actually get a little interesting if we go to this version. Now, when you have multiple copies, say we have 2 copies of this in play, because the counters are the thing that gets removed, it actually flips the incentive around. And now, it is as good for the opponent to target the thing that they want to get rid of. In fact, no, it's better to do it that way, because you don't have to go angel, then thing. It's counter, then thing.
Right.
And so, that switches things up. And if you have, well, yeah, having more than 2 of these in play actually just doesn't do anything. Well, I mean, yeah, doesn't do anything for the removal math.
You might do things in terms of the number of friends you were able to have assist them and the number of friends that have the counters, but otherwise, assuming you have one key friend that you are trying to protect, it's kind of a Grogar's Lair situation.
Mhm.
If you have one, there's a line of play that people are going to choose to pursue, right? Which is, I'm probably going to pay, in the Grogar's Lair example, there's one Grogar's Lair in play, I'll pay the one so my friend doesn't get frightened. It just occurred to me that it's not exactly the same, but Grogar's Lair is a blue card that does make you ask the opponent, do you pay the one? I'm sorry, I didn't realize we made Rhystic steady. I'll go, self-flagellate later. But if you have 2 copies of Grogar's Lair, then there's actually no incentive for the opponent to pay the 2 up front most of the time. They're going to be better off just unfrightening when they need to, especially if the friend has an enters play effect. So at 2, the targeting, the method of playing around this, or the method of responsive playing, changes, and at 3 or above, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, and I think I should bring up, because I think I saw a comment sort of related to this somewhere earlier up in the chat. Prism Light mentioning stroller bunnies. I want to, I guess, kind of clarify
Sure.
and remind people that the counters only go out when the card gets assisted, which can only be done when it's played. If it's brought into a play as a copy or from the discard pile or any of that, there's no counters.
Because nothing assisted it.
Yeah.
So can you get multiple redundant layers of protection on a friend that has the counter? Sure, but once you get above 2, like we just discussed, all that happens is the gun points towards the pony with the shield counter on it, or the magical friendship laser points towards the pony with the shield counter on it.
Right.
Instead of at Angel directly.
Yeah, and so it's kind of a weird card in that sense. Like, it is still a 3-power body, and so, like, as a stroller bunny's hit, yeah, it's pretty good if you're just talking about mere power. But it is kind of weird in that sense that otherwise you probably don't want to play this if you're not doing that assist, or even like get the copies or cheated into play necessarily.
Sure, right? Because at its base, even if you're not worried about protection, you might still play this card just for, cost efficiency. It can be 1 cost for 3 power. We'll talk about that next. But again, you're not just going to slam a 3 for 3 that does nothing else in yellow aggro. Just about any play that yellow has is going to be better off than that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we've got the language of the ability worked out. How about tuning the other mechanics, the other functions of the card? What traits should this card have?
Right. Because at this point, we hadn't worked out the flavor of Angel. This was still just a mysterious gray cloud there in the arc.
So we looked at a few of the multicolors earlier, right?
Well, it wasn't even Angel yet. It's what trait is it? Is it a dragon? Is it a critter?
Fair.
Is it a etc. So
Right.
the art will follow this mechanical direction here. So it needs to be a critter, for example.
Yeah, we could have made this into Huizotl for all we wanted to know.
We could have made it an armor. Maybe not. Armors aren't friends.
Icing.
Oh, what?
Armor. Like suit of armor. Like the card that has that one trait.
Oh, okay.
Isn't that
Sure.
from like Crystal Games or something?
Yes, it is.
Sure is.
What a bad set.
Yeah.
Yeah, this thing right here.
Yeah, there it
Does
be.
it actually have the art?
Yes.
It actually has the armor trait.
Okay.
Could have made it a dilemma. That
No,
assist dilemmas.
bad.
Interesting. Technically could have worked. Weird, but all right. I kind of like the design space for assist dilemmas, actually.
What the?
It's an interesting thought to put in the head, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, that's unique. Might be able to make something with a much more favorable stat line than you otherwise normally would if it's overcosted. Yeah, okay. I dig it.
Oh, that's weird.
Right? Isn't that kind of interesting?
God,
No, unique is something else. Shut.
Shut.
So, what traits do colors like? Well, blue yellow is going to have, a slight preference towards Pegasi. There's a few resources that are going to help with that, right? And a few other friends, Fluttershy and Bulk, right?
Yeah.
Or-
White yellow's going to want changelings. Was white yellow's whole thing. It still is, I guess, technically.
Mhm.
Bugs.
Mono yellow, yeah. Well, we know what that one wants. Mono yellow wants critter.
Mm-hmm.
The amount of critter synergy that actually exists surrounding this card with the critter trait compared to this card without the critter trait is kind of astonishing. Can we go back and take a look at Ivory's list again and count the number of ways that this card gets benefits from the critter trait? So, first off, we've got the main. Then we've got Bring Out Your Best, which is probably naming critter. We've got Kind as Can Be, which can put this friend into play from your discard pile. We've got Birds of a Feather, who generates additional tokens. We've got Antoine, who can make this thing effectively banked AT for a later turn. We've got Stroller Bunnies, who can provide duplicate layers of protection if you've got one of these out. We've got Adoption Options, who can tutor up a copy of this. I think that's it. It's still pretty good. Is the point.
Yeah. Talking table is only the tokens, the one
Right.
power tokens. So.
Right. So, with that in mind, seeing the tremendous synergy that could be brought by making this card a critter, and the fact that there really weren't any decks that were going to be sad to see this as a critter, even the decks that are leaning towards other traits for what they prefer even slightly aren't going to be upset to have a critter in their deck because there aren't enough changelings in core right now to run a true changeling aggro deck. Probably. And
I think I agree with that, yeah.
Right. And blue-yellow would really only end up wanting Pegasi to either make additional token friends or to have things to retire to Fluttershy and Bulk Biceps, but Fluttershy and Bulk Biceps are point acceleration that you might want to protect. Therefore, you wouldn't want to make this a Pegasi because then you'd be retiring it to the point acceleration, and then it wouldn't be protecting, and that would be weird.
Little strange,
So,
yeah.
So critter it was.
Yeah. And then we come back to the thing that we mentioned earlier, this thing about what happens when you make 2 power friends in core right now.
So what happens when you make 2 power friends in core right now?
Well, there's this sea pony, who could just search it up in pink yellow. Well, and I mean, honestly, not even necessarily in pink yellow, because there's a Student 6 deck, and things start to get kind of wild at some point.
Yeah, and that Student 6 deck is also running a few of those cards that Bugle was mentioning earlier that are in different colors, Misty and Alphabettle and Donut Joe as well.
Yeah. So, and this, is a utility card, something that, if you're able to play it, you a lot of different. Well, certainly that Student 6 deck with its bunch of value stuff certainly would want this, I think.
Absolutely. I think it would begin considering it as a point of protection there, right?
Yeah. So, yeah. You put it down to 2 power, you open that up, and then you start to wonder yourself, right? Like, that feels like a lot. Right, and we've had Sanctuary Scuffle brought up. This is another thing that waffles around the 2 or 3 point, 2 or 3 power breakpoint. You can either put it on the 2 power side of this or on the 3 power side of this.
If you're putting it on the 3 power side, you're more likely to be bouncing this friend along with the stuff that it's protecting, which is worse. If you're putting it on the 2 power side, then you might be able to get, multiple layers of protection there, and that might be a little scary.
Mm-hmm.
How about we make Aura look up his favorite card in the history of the game?
Thorax?
Yeah. Flickering with rage.
But yeah, another card that really cares about that number 2. Excuse me.
Right? Not in core, but you always have to consider things.
Definitely in adventure.
Yeah, a little bit, right? There's even other weird math that can be done to determine, the impact and the benefit or detriment of having this thing at 2 power versus 3 power, right? One of the friends that's likely to be protected in mono yellow right now is going to be Kind as Can Be. Kind as Can Be has a Unity 15 ability. Well, let's think about this for a second. Kind as Can Be has 2 power. If this friend has 2 power, and we have our main who is, Hitch, well, there's 7 right there. Let's assume we have a Birds of a Feather that gets us to 11. We'd need, a couple of critter tokens, which could be like an Antoine and some critter tokens generated by Fluttershy. Or it could be a copy of Hitch, the assist to Hitch, who is also 4 power. The lines to get to 15 with this friend being at 2 power are not dramatically different than the likely lines to get to 15 with this friend at 3 power. It doesn't really result in a common board state you would expect to see that is able to, say, play 1 friend fewer.
Mm-hmm.
Now, could that board state happen? Of course, right? Who knows what cards you draw, who knows what cards your opponent removes, all of that. But
yeah, we don't think about like the every particular possibility. This is all just sort of get a general sense of like, okay, this doesn't feel like it's going to be that big of a deal on the Unity side.
Right. And if this friend in question already got the benefit of being able to have the critter trait that had by far the broadest level of synergy across any of the trait considerations, and there's the risk of this thing appearing alongside decks running Destiny and having even more consistency to find it, not to mention being able to do the Sanctuary Scuffle things and all of that, and maybe even going back into Thorax for even more protection of Birds of a Feather in Adventure? Is that something we really wanted to see?
Felt like a lot.
I don't want to see that. Nobody wants to see that.
So yeah, we step back from the brink there, up the hill to 3 power. Just little bit less synergy across the spectrum. Card's still plenty good at its purpose at 3 power.
Right. And it's funny because the one thing that we didn't talk about here at all in regard to that power balancing aspect is the fact that it is still an aggro card and we just gave it an extra power.
Sure did.
And yet, it's generally considered a detriment.
What is this world that we live in?
It's weird. But these are the type, again, this is part of the reason why we're glad to have you walk us through those steps and kind of rehash those conversations that we had. Is this is all stuff that gets considered behind the scenes that anyone looking at that card might never have realized that those thoughts crossed anybody's mind. And then, of course, final question, we already answered this a little bit when we were talking about Thorax, is it going to see play in any other format?
Right. Well, the thing, like, aside from Thorax, in Adventure, this card is sitting alongside the card that inspired its design. Yeah. And so that's, like, there's the natural question there, right? In Adventure, you've got the choice between this and Brian. What are you going to pick? Or, do you, why not both? Both may be a little don't need that much protection, I don't think.
I mean, I myself needed more, pressure on the limited number of card slots.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And Brian, it has the extra utility of being the resource dismissal. It's super cheap always, has the ability to come into play for free. Feels like it's kind of just better for sure.
Sure.
I would say.
Which is good, because we're not out here, you're not out here sitting there looking at, all these cards from yesteryear and saying, but what if we power crept it, right?
For sure. I don't even want to power creep Celestia mains anymore. What a weird world we live in.
Right, that's my job.
No, we just need to make more purple Luna mains. Please hold.
Oh my god, no.
Can we make it purple Nyx main?
Yeah, please. Please.
No.
Well, you've got a new person to convince. He's right there. But all of that discussion, all of those considerations, all the tweaking and the math and the fine-tuning knobs and understanding what could be flexible, right? As the card goes into playtesting. There you go. There's a walk through the design process of one singular card.
Yeah, now I get to ask some annoying questions. So, assist says character. And this is only sticking shield counters on friends, but counters on mains are sometimes relevant, just even named counters. It's very rare.
There's a few instances where I can think where that's relevant.
Now, wouldn't that be kind of funny?
To be able to
shield
put a
card
counter
on your main?
Yeah, I mean, is it going to do anything 99.9% of the time? No. Is it going to hurt anything by having the wording slightly tweaked?
Probably not.
Probably not.
Loving Ruler does something funny.
Oh man, since she uses shield counters.
Well.
Is this actually just Cursed playing the long con to get Loving Ruler to not be the worst main that's ever been printed in this game?
Whew, that's a very long con.
But that's a great point, right? In progress design, still plenty of room for tweaks. And I think I tend to agree with you, Ara. We don't even need to change the to change the last ability here, right? Because the mains aren't going to be able to leave play. So all we have to do is change the instance of friend in the second ability to character.
Just one little tweak.
And we can see if that is going to still fit. So should be fine.
Oh yeah, no, that'll fit. No worries. I only had to reduce the text down to 8.1 point font. Yeah, it's not much smaller.
Okay. Well, I'm looking forward to let's see. What was the line? Exhausting a couple of my things to play this, then bouncing this back to my hand with extreme casework, for one. Exhausting more things and retiring a token with Antoine to play this again. Then retiring this to Antoine to play Kind as Can Be, to bring this back and have like 4 friends protected by shield counters. I guess we actually would need to... we can't bring it back. Oh no, the friend did interplay this turn. I think there's a few other lines you can do there so you can actually get this back out with protection on Kind as Can Be as well. It's silly. Go find your favorite line with this card. And then tell us how broken it is and why you don't want aggro to be good in this meta, and we'll print a bunch more control removal cards because that's what everyone wants.
I mean, my favorite line with this card was I was trying to put a Monty Python reference in the flavor text.
Oh,
Valid.
yeah. But
Now
yeah, I was going to say, yeah, card batch is still in active development, so feedback always appreciated.
and we will be eager to see what you end up cooking up next time.
Yeah, those questions process always front of mind at Cursed Laboratories.
But there's some... Just messing with the assist mechanics get weird, especially the putting assist on a dilemma. That's still bonkers to me.
I kind of dig it, though. I kind of like it.
Helpful dilemmas.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, there's nothing stopping you from doing that. I think you should do it. It'll be funny.
I'll make a note to look into that. Yeah, I agree. It sounds cool.
All right. Well, I think that will about wrap up our discussion on this topic for today. We would like to give a big shout out to all of our patrons on Patreon. Thank you so much for your regular support. If you aren't currently a patron and you enjoy what we do, consider donating. Doing so enables us to continue making content like this and lets you earn some great perks as a bonus. If you have comments or questions you'd like to send our way, feel free to reach out to us through Facebook, Twitter, or email. And if you're a patron, you can also chat live with us on the Sim Discord any day, anytime. Finally, if you're looking to watch any of our previous videos, including tournament recordings, you can find them on our YouTube channel, linked just below the stream. With all that said, thank you to each and every one of our viewers, both here now and watching this recording later. We are, as always, Commentary is Magic. I'm, as always, Grand Pause.
Big cheese.
Arcap.
Ivory.
And Cursed Chords. I guess I maybe should get used to being here a bit more often.
Maybe so. You got some stuff cooking.
Do indeed.
And we'll see you all next time.
I think what we need to do is scoot the 4 of us apart a little bit and put a Celestia right in the middle.
Oh, there you go. There you go. That's the way to do it.
I do not want Celestia next to me.
Why not?
Because Celestia is the worst princess.
Ooh.
Oh.
Them's fighting words.
Cut the stream before the violence kicks on.
Bye.
What? This is free content. Next time on Commentary is Magic. Alright. We'll see you next time.
Bye.